Hey guys, so welcome to my first video on my series about 3 different ways to kickstart painting. So on this first way, I'm gonna show you how to start a painting with, random brushes and abstract shapes. I'm really just putting whatever I find kind of interesting in the canvas, but I don't really have a clear idea of what I'm doing. I'm just picking different, in this case, shades of gray. I'm gonna keep it grayscale for this one, and putting random shapes, color picking values here and there. And the more abstract your brushes are, the better. And in the description of the video, I'm gonna leave some that I think some brush packs that I think are pretty useful and that I use myself as well. But you don't necessarily need them. You just, Photoshop already has some different kind of preset brushes you can use. You just want to try to get different shapes and vary a little bit, create some randomness. That's really what you want. The idea here is that you don't have an idea of what you want to do, or maybe you're stuck. You're kind of in a art block, let's say, and you don't know where to start. You don't know what theme you want to draw. You're just kind of lost. So you just want to put randomness in the canvas and hope for some happy accidents and keep working on it. And as you move along, you start finding interesting, cool shapes and ideas and compositions. And I didn't really think about having this character in the foreground when I started this painting. It just seemed like it would make sense. At the distance I have some kind of dark shape, kind of silhouette of someone. So trying to create a little bit of a story behind this, but everything is very loose. I don't really zoom in much. I'm just trying to look at the big picture here, because I find if you start zooming in before you have a kind of an idea of what you're doing, you can get lost and you can start. For example, if I zoom in and I would start detailing this foreground character clothing or whatnot, it wouldn't really improve the picture overall. Right? You want to think about, what is this painting about? As you're painting it, you just start figuring it out, and you want to make sure your composition is working and your shapes are interesting, and focus on building that up. Because details, you can always do that later. You can always find reference, take picture of reference yourself. This is all about making something interesting out of nothing, right? You had no idea before starting this painting, and you're trying to come up with something, trying to get creative. It's really hard to try to do that while you're detailing something, while you're trying to focus on rendering. And rendering doesn't really is not what's gonna make your painting work or succeed in the end. And another thing I should mention as well is that I'm using a mixer brush, and the mixer brush is an awesome tool. I really recommend you try it. It's basically almost like a mix between a normal brush and a clone stamp. So the way it works is that you can use basically any kind of brush and set it in a way that with the mixer brush you can use the alt key. So instead of color picking, you're actually picking a sample of the image. So you're sampling your own image and making that into what comes out of your brush. So if I'm sampling huge black shadow in the image, my sampling is going to be the same as color picking a black color. But if I'm sampling a mix of different shades, you get all those different shades in one brush stroke. So that's pretty useful for you to not only build some texture and get a little more randomness going on. I find it very efficient. I find it very quick, and kind of close to how I would do oil painting a little bit, because you know, you kind of mix the painting on the canvas, and this is a little bit similar, so it feels very natural for me. And yeah, I really recommend you try it. I would just recommend for you to set the values of the mixer brush on the top of the Photoshop screen. Set the wet value to 0%, the other two values to 100%, and the other two values are load and flow. So then you can come out with a hard brush, but I find that more useful. And then, you know, you can tinker around with it later on once you're kind of used to using it. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this painting as it is. It got to a good point that, you know, I got the idea across, and I could save it for later and keep working on it if I wanted to. So I hope this was somewhat helpful, and I'll leave you guys with a few other links for the next video, for a blog, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.